Hello YouTube. In this video I'm going to be answering some viewer questions. And the reason why I do videos answering viewer questions is because I get so many emails from people on a daily basis and I can't possibly answer every email I get. So what I thought would be a good idea is to do a series of videos answering viewer questions. And let me say that if you guys have sent me a question either here on YouTube or MySpace or any of the other social networks I belong to, and I haven't answered them, it's not because I'm trying to be mean or anything like that. It's basically because I get so many emails from people and I cannot possibly answer all of the emails I get. So if I haven't answered in a question that you've asked, it's nothing personal, believe me. I'm currently working at two jobs and sometimes three. So my time is limited. I cannot spend all of my time on the internet, and I have other things to that I do throughout my life. And of course, a lot of you guys know that I'm a musician and I'm trying to start my career, so that takes up a lot of my time too. But it doesn't mean that I've forgotten about those of you who have sent me questions. I will eventually answer all the questions, but sometimes, I get a little behind. But that's why I'm making videos like this one. Okay, now another thing that I want to say before I start is if you guys send me a question and if I decide to do a video on that question, what I'll do first is I'll contact you and I'll say, hey, this would be a great subject for a video and can I use it here on YouTube? I would not take one of your questions without asking you first and make a YouTube video about it. And I would not disclose information about yourself or people that you know, this, that, and other. I would not do that here on YouTube. The last thing we need is another YouTube war, right? Okay, so the first question that I've gotten is, let me get this out over here. First question is, why did I leave Christianity? Well, as some of you guys know, some of you guys know me personally, some of you guys just know me through my YouTube videos. But I believe that I said this in some of my previous videos here on YouTube. The reason why I left Christianity is because it wasn't a good fit for me. It just didn't work. Like most people, I was born in a Christian household. Well, actually, I was born in a more secular household, and it was later on that one of my parents converted to Christianity. And of course, when they converted, they tried to get me to convert, which basically didn't work. I spent many years in the church, and to me, it was basically a waste of time. One of the things I did like about church, and I will admit this, is I did like Sunday school. Believe it or not, and the reason why I like Sunday school is because we actually sat down and discussed things that was in the Bible. So even though I hated being there, I did sort of like that. And I liked that more, a lot more. Well, actually, I didn't like the sermons that I had to attend as a child because it was basically someone preaching to me and telling me what I should and should not do and what I should and should not believe. And I just thought it was ludicrous, especially when I know a lot of the Christians who had attended the church that I belonged to at the time, and they were bigger sinners than I was in real life, and that's still the case. I love my Christian friends, but a lot of them, when it comes to so-called sin, if you want to call it that, I cannot hold a candle to these people, especially when it comes to drinking. A lot of these people can drink me under the table. And it just boggles my mind, that a lot of times they'll come up with excuses on why they do certain things, and and I remind them that Well, it says here in your book that you're not supposed to do this, that, and other, and they always come up with an excuse. So, oh well, it's just at least I'm more honest about my beliefs. At least I don't have a book that says "Thou shalt not." Anyway, that was basically why I left Christianity, and it goes back to the concept of the right hand path and the left hand path. The right hand path has to do with "Thine will be done." That's the concept that goes with that. So you're doing the will of God, Allah, Yahweh, or whatever, Jesus. That's the right hand path. And the left hand path is "Mine will be done," which is different. And with that concept is my will is what I'm trying to promote in my life, and it's not the will of some God out there, in some in the heavens or whatever. That's not my concept of what I believe the craft, at least for me, is about. And as most people know by now, a craft isn't necessarily a religion. A craft is a craft. It's a way of doing magic. So it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to anything religious. Okay. Another question that I've gotten is spirits. Do I believe in spirits? And I think I've answered this in a previous video. So instead of just repeating myself, let me just say that one of my first experiences with a spirit was a couple of years ago. It was right around the time my grandfather died. I was asleep, and all of a sudden I woke up, and my grandfather was standing next to me, standing next to my bed as I was sleeping. And he sort of looked at me, and I looked at him, and he went into the next room. And I just thought that was kind of odd. And my mother was actually in the next room. And so I just thought that was kind of odd. Then when I woke up, and when I talked to family members later on, I found out he had died right around that time. Now, that could have been coincidence, or it could have been something that was, actually real. The thing is that I did not think that he was going to die at the time, so this was something that was totally out of the blue for me. I don't necessarily wake up in the morning with a family member, standing next to my bed looking at me. So I think there's something, truthful to that, and something that really needs to be investigated. A lot of times what happens is sometimes, now you can say that, well, I don't believe this or this, not another, but this was actually done as a Twilight Zone episode, and I also made a little fun of it in one of the videos that I posted here on YouTube. But sometimes the phone rings when a loved one passes away, and you pick up the phone and you can hear a distant voice, trying to either talk to you or say something, and sometimes that voice says, I love you, or you could barely hear it or whatnot. So there have been cases of that too. And I believe those are the spirits of our dead, departed loved ones that are basically saying goodbye to us. Okay. Well, it looks like I'm at 9:11, 9:12, 9:13. As usual, I'm running out of time here on YouTube, but those of you who have more questions that you want to ask me, feel free to send me an email and say, hey, if you want, you can answer this question here on either MySpace or YouTube, and I'll answer it for you. Okay, so since I'm running out of time, I'm going to let you guys go. So, love is Allah, and peace.